Apologies for the problems with the green screen behind me. For some reason today it just does not want to sit properly. I can't do anything about it. Again, I apologize for that. I will be putting some money together for some better lighting and I'll be getting a better green screen.
Warp drive active.
Hello and welcome to Sovereign RPG, and today we're going to go over a fit sent to me by Kalen Stormwell after the sort of faction tier list I did for the cruisers. He came to me and said, look, the Cynabal should be much higher along with the Phantasm in the S tier level of PvE. After some of this testing, I actually agree with what he's saying. I just did an Angel or Devil in 2 hours and 20 minutes. That's from start, picking it up, warping to locations, doing the annihilates, and then warping to the next location, do the annihilate, warp to the next location and do the annihilate. This puts out some serious DPS. Now it's not as AFK as the Phantasm that we had on there. It requires you to do a lot more, but I'll show you how to fit the ship. I'll show you how to change it up a little bit so you can jump into PvP with the ship if you feel like it. And then at the end of the video, I will do a time lapse from start to finish of the Angel or Devil in 2 hours and 20 minutes. So let's get into the fit itself. So what we have in the high slots are the Gistum C-type medium autocannons. They have a very short range. The optimal range is about 2.9 kilometers with skills. Currently my skills are 553 and 553 in both operation and in the upgrade. These do high amounts of damage very quickly, and coupled with a couple of gyro stabilizers, you'll be looking, as I will show you in a minute, at some serious DPS. So in the low slots, we have 2 Gistum C-type gyro stabilizers. We have 1 Centum C-type medium afterburner. We have 1 Gist C-type adaptive invulnerability field and a C-type medium shield booster. In the mid slots, we have 2 times Verkalakis medium energy Nosferatus. Probably still pronouncing that completely wrong. And we have a Predator Stasis Weather Fire to slow down those frigates and destroyers when we get to them inside of the actual counters. The medium energy Nos is to keep the fit stable, and the adaptive invulnerability field is just there to prop up your resist. You don't get hit much in this fit. Again, it's the same as the Phantasm. You'll be doing a little bit less speed, but you don't actually need the 1600 the Phantasm gives you to be able to orbit battleships and battle cruisers. So for combat rigs, we have 1 times cannon collision that gives you percentage to damage, and 2 times burst aerator 2s for the activation time increase. In the engineering rigs, I have auxiliary thrusters 2 because I currently don't have the expert skills in the afterburner on this character. So it gets me up to that 1100, 1200 meters a second using an afterburner. So you don't get the signature bloom of the micro warp drive. We have a capacitor control circuit 2 and a semiconductor 2 to keep this fit stable. So let's have a look at some of the stats that we have here. Now these stats right now are cold. This is non-activated, all completely normal. So we have 876.76 DPS. Now this is cold. This is as much as the Phantasm has when it's hot in my pit. The defense we have is obviously we have no rigs for defense on this ship. It's not really needed in PvE. Now if you were going to take it into PvP, we'd make some changes. You don't have to completely take the rigs off and fit for plugging the resist holes. You can use a double adaptive invulnerability field and take off one of the gyro stabilizers and still do a decent amount of DPS. As you can see, the capacitor is stable at 49.1%. That's with the 2 medium Nosferatus and the CCC and Semi 2 that we fit in there. Scan res is actually really high, 516 millimeters. That's very high for a cruiser. It's a very nice scan res. Signature radius is 70 meters. So you have quite a small signature radius, so it helps with the speed tanking. Now, if you look at navigation, our standard max velocity is 417.56 meters a second, but this is the biggest bonus, apart from the massive amounts of DPS, the 4.5 AU warp speed. Now this comes from the roll bonus of 50% warp speed. So you're normally going to be doing 3 AU a second, but with this warp speed bonus, you're doing 4.5 AU a second. Now, damage control activation time, I don't actually use a damage control. You can use this in PvP, but I just don't feel that the extra 5 seconds on a 13-second, it really makes no difference to me. It can save you in really bad situations, but it's a bit too niche for me to be putting that in there. I'm not a fan of the damage control system. So advanced medium cannon operation gives you 5% medium cannon damage every level and activation time. And the advanced cruiser command bonus gives you 7.5 medium cannon tracking speed and 7.5 accuracy fall off per level of advanced cruiser command. Now the ship doesn't have as big of a power grid output as say the Phantasm, but you can fit it well enough that you don't need to actually have any oversized slots in there, but it can be done. Right, so let's go outside of the station and activate some modules, and I'll show you what this actual beast can do. So what we're going to do, we're going to activate the adaptive invulnerability field, we're going to activate the 2 gyro stabilizers and the afterburner. Now let's have a look at the stats. So you're looking at 1,367.43 DPS. That is absolutely insane amounts of DPS. Now, if you actually look at the autocannons themselves, you do only have a 2.93 kilometer optimal range. You can orbit at around 4 kilometers. You'll be sitting at about 4 or 5 kilometers, and you will do mostly full application. So don't worry too much about sitting at 2 kilometers. You do have an 18.31 kilometer fall off, so you can hit up to, I've hit ships that are coming straight at me up to 35 to 40 kilometers away, so it does happen. You don't have to worry too much about that. The tracking speed is absolutely massive on these ships. It's 77.38. That is a really big tracking speed. Now, please do take note that in the November update, the tracking speed will be lowered. We have an activation time of 2.16 seconds, which is why this ship does so much DPS. It's very, very quick activation time. So if we look at our defenses, we've gone up to 36% EM resist. We've gone 49 thermal, 62 kinetic, and 68 explosive. Now if we go to navigation, we are sitting at 1143.91 meters a second. This is more than enough speed to be able to speed tank, get around the battlefield itself. Another good bonus for the actual Cynabal is its size when the afterburner is not active. We turn the afterburner off and go into the navigation again. You're looking at 9,047,000 tons of mass with a 0.235008 inertia modifier. This puts the ship at under a 3-second align time, so it does align very fast and warps off. And coupled with the actual speed of the warp itself at 4.5 AU a second, you're saving so much time jumping from annihilate to annihilate. It really does help a lot. To put it into perspective, even though the Phantasm is AFK and you just have to be able to, you can just set the auto lock on, you can set the auto orbit and auto attack next target, and you can pretty much just go AFK for the entire thing after you kill the frigates. It still takes up to 4 hours to finish an Angel or Devil, whereas this fit does, tried and tested, 2 hours and 21 minutes cycling the actual gyro stabilizers. Don't want to use these active all the time, both at the same time. You want to use one and then use the other. If you pick it at specific times, you can maximize your DPS and lower the amount of time, which you will see time lapse at the end of the video. Right, and that's all we have for the Cynabal, the powerhouse, the absolutely massive DPS that comes out of this ship. Make sure to check out the time lapse. I hope you enjoy it. Fly safe and avoid local chat scams.